Thanks for taking a little more time to get to know Ivis PRO. We know you have questions such as, why is Ivis PRO different? How is Ivis PRO going to help manage my compliance program? How can I use the fraud triangle to assess my risk? How am I going to do gap analysis and mitigate my risk? What is the status of my entire compliance program? Let's take a few minutes to walk through Ivis PRO and see about answering those questions. Ivis PRO changes the focus of compliance management tools from adherence to policies and procedures and technical controls, and puts the emphasis on analyzing human behavior that could result in an ethics or compliance failure. In simpler terms, it helps compliance and ethics professionals target why an employee may engage in misconduct that could lead to an ethics or compliance failure, and it creates the user utilities to track the things a company must do to be in compliance. The Ivis PRO dashboard provides a comprehensive snapshot of your entire compliance program from a corporate perspective or individual business units. There are several dashboard views available based on your role in the system, the most detailed of which is the Core Element Manager view. This dashboard displays a breakdown of core elements by risk score, risk assessment values, and training progress. Additional displays are available showing training status and mitigation plan status, in addition to a comparison of medium to high-risk plans and low-risk plans. Control action status is the final chart, showing progress on the assigned controls across your compliance core elements. Within the Core Elements section of Ivis PRO, you'll have the tools needed to manage the individual elements of your compliance program. All of the core elements you have installed will be on the left side of your screen until you complete a risk assessment. After the risk assessment is complete, the core elements will be listed in the cell of the risk cube that corresponds to the risk score. Using cybersecurity as an example, the core element navigation chart will walk you through the components that together create a work plan for the year. Starting at the top, the plan details bubble is the what of the plan through the description. Additionally, the plan details contains a snapshot of the risk cube with points for risk assessment and risk mitigation, a plan-specific control status chart, and access to previous versions of the work plan. The owner's stakeholders bubble is the who via the accountable department, compliance manager, and legal team. The policies and procedures bubble is the how, with policies, procedures, and communication. And finally, the legal requirements bubble is the why, with applicable laws, statutes, and regulations. Assessing risk is critical to the success of a compliance program, and Ivis PRO utilizes the fraud triangle and applies human behavior risk thresholds to each attribute. Assessment and mitigation evaluations are available using the Risk Assessments bubble. Attributes of the fraud triangle are rationalization, opportunity, and pressure. Rationalization measures the ability of an employee to justify an act of business misconduct. Opportunity identifies the ease with which an employee can commit misconduct, and pressure is the incentive for employees to commit misconduct. These values are assigned a 0 through 5 rating for each plan, and the additional category of consequence is used to identify the potential financial effect of misconduct. These assessments are used to plot a point on the risk cube to be used as a visual representation of the assessed risk. Leveraging the same fraud triangle-based scale, risk mitigation is used to determine your target risk or goal for the plan year. By assigning future risk values to each fraud triangle attribute, you are establishing a gap analysis of your risk. Once your gap analysis is complete, clicking on the Mitigation Action Items bubble will give you a utility to create tasks to be completed while working toward the mitigation goals. Each of these tasks are assigned with a scheduled start and completion date, in addition to actual close dates, and utilize flags to show the attributes of the risk assessment they address. As with risk assessment, the values assigned in risk mitigation are used to plot a point on the risk cube to visually show the gap between your current assessment and mitigation goals. Ivis Pro includes a simple-to-use training tracker for core element managers to keep an eye on training efforts throughout the year. Each training course is listed, and the number of individuals to be trained is compared to the number of training completions. Specific control actions around core elements are easily managed within Ivis Pro. Within the Control Action section, you'll have a list of the defined control sections. In the cybersecurity example, the control sections are the 14 families associated with NIST SP 800-171. The status icons will give you a quick snapshot update on the status of the task items within each section. Your own custom controls can also be added. Within each control, you will have the ability to assign specific roles and users to complete defined tasks and intervals as to when you want the control completed or reviewed. Any control you feel has a weakness in your organization can be assigned a plan of action and milestone, or POAM. Each control task can be assigned multiple POAM tasks and be tracked individually through the POAM bubble on the navigation chart. Certain core elements may have special data collection needs, and Ivis Pro has those needs handled as well. For example, cybersecurity requires a document known as the System Security Plan, or SSP. The SSP is accessed via the SSP bubble in the Action Items sub-navigation and is a custom form based on the template provided in the NIST SP 800-171A. As the end of a year approaches, the final phase of a core element work plan is started with evaluation. The evaluation is broken into two main sections: non-privileged for internal use and privileged for external reviews by the legal team. Ivis Pro permissions determine the users that have access to view the privileged information. Once the evaluations are completed, the core element manager and accountable manager, vice president, or director will electronically sign off on the evaluation. Ivis Pro provides numerous reporting options for your core elements, including individual reports for core element work plans, risk assessment, and evaluation. Additionally, the suite of summary reports is available to compare compliance risk across plans and business units, audit information for users and security, and tracking reports for mitigation tasks and training activities. Ivis Pro can also help you manage the compliance of your company's supply chain. Ivis Supply Chain is an optional module that utilizes Ivis Pro data to provide a status dashboard and communication between you and your suppliers. Your suppliers, if they are using Ivis Pro, can identify the plans that are complete without sharing the actual content of their plans. Contact Ivis if you have questions still to be answered, or get started today with a 30-day free trial.